Hello once again, it is I back on the radio, Yash, and today I'm here with
Tiffany.
and
And summer.
alright, and today's topic we're going to be talking about toxicity. Roll the intro. So, jumping into this topic, right? Well, first we need to establish a baseline. What does everyone consider toxic relationship here? Like, in your opinion, what is the definition of being toxic? Tiff, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I guess being toxic is probably more on manipulation. I guess like not being. Probably me. I would say being evil and not good for to someone. Like if the purpose of you being with someone is just to trick them, I guess I'm not sure. I mean that's my understanding. I know what it means, but it's really hard for me to explain.
Yeah. Saba, what about you?
To be honest, it's quite a hard question for me to define what exactly is toxicity, especially in relationship, because in my understanding, toxic relationship to me is when the relationship there is a lack of trust and respect, and the motive of the relationship is somewhat also what Tiffany said, like in terms of manipulation or for somebody's build up ego or for somebody's personal usage. So I think that would be my definition of toxic, but I think it does have a more general definition to it lah.
Yeah, because usually toxicity means different things to different people. Where some people might see like manipulation as something that's toxic, versus other people might see stuff like gaslighting as toxic. And then you have those that see it as just casual here and there, just a little bit of banter and playing around. I think to be honest, right, when it comes to manipulation, also the definition for that also varies according to people. For me, I feel like manipulation is just using you for more than just what they want, for like other things too. Like for instance, just using you as a sign of just to show people that you're not alone, you're with someone, or using you to do their chores
Mm.
or their work. That to me is what using is. But I'm sure that there are other meanings to it too.
Yeah, I do agree with you because sometimes what I think is that sometimes relationship does without manipulation or like ill motive. Sometimes it's just because two-person isn't completely healed from their past trauma, which creates them into a person where they're not right for this relationship and mess things up and even do hurtful things to each other, which is also a toxic environment for both of them as well.
I would also add it to that. Sometimes it's not that person. Sometimes it's just yourself. Cause like it could be self sabotage to the relationship as well. If you think about it.
That's true. That is true. But also, like for me, I feel like some traumas you can't really heal from fully. They will still leave a mark, and I think it's a matter of how people work together and deal with it together. I mean, is it not?
I do agree with you. Trauma could not be completely healed, but is what makes like what two people how they handle the situation and how the relationship works for them in a healthy way, whereby they don't hurt each other, then that wouldn't be toxic. But if it is the other way, then I would consider that as toxic lah.
Hmm. Movies and music as well nowadays, they also somehow like romanticize the idea of toxic behaviors and toxic relationship. Like, I don't know if you watched After the franchise, the movie. I haven't really watched it myself yet, but I did notice that a lot of people actually said that the main guy character was actually very possessive. Like he always forced himself and tried to gaslight her into doing what he wants. Like what do you guys think?
For me, I've not watched it at all. In fact, this is my first time actually hearing of said franchise. So
I think I'm a bit more informant than you, yes, because I did heard of After and even saw their trailer, but I have not really go into the movie as well. But I think one of the characters that I I'm quite sure everybody can label them as toxic, manipulative. It's literally Joker and Harley.
Oh yeah, that I know. That I can agree with. That I
Yeah.
know.
I think that would be the icon of toxic relationship for me, at least lah. I'm not sure about you guys lah.
Yeah, actually, because I mean,
Mm.
to be honest, she's head over heels for him. He's just using her to get around.
Yeah.
And especially if you looked at what was that movie again? Was it Suicide Squad?
I think it's Suicide Squad.
I can't remember which movie it was. Apologies, it's been years since I watched movies, but yeah, you could really see how she was just being used for this entire thing just for him.
Mm.
But I mean, like, if you watch Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, in the end, she did break up with the Joker, but she found out in the end that, he was actually using her, so good for her. So good for her.
I actually really like that movie because in the Birds of Prey, it really showcased how Harley stepped out of this toxic relationship and how there was like a kind of feminism I don't know, a shot where all the girls come all together, which is I think it's iconic, to be honest.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, hey, you go, girl.
Yeah.
And one more relationship I feel like people do look at as a little bit toxic. I don't know because I've never watched this. I'm gonna get flamed for this in about 5 seconds. Friends, Rachel and Ross.
Bro, don't worry about getting flamed because I'm in the pit with you because I never watched Friends before too. I think this one leave it to Tiffany because she's the Friends expert here.
No lah, I wouldn't say I'm the Friends expert, but I did binge watch the whole 10 seasons, I think in 1 month and a half.
I think that's considered expert.
You definitely know more than us.
I mean, if there are any Friends expert, you would know that the relationship between Rachel and Ross is an unhealthy one. It's more of an on again, off again couple. I think in one episode in season 3 or season 2, when Rachel and Ross broke up, and then Rachel returned Ross's items, and then after that, he got all petty and all salty that, I got you this, I got you that, but then she's like, yeah, but I don't need it anymore. We moved on and passed. The relationship we broke up like several months ago. So, it's right to have your things back to you. And then he got all petty in the end, and he was like, oh, well, if I want my, all my things back, I want that shirt back too. And then Rachel went like, Ross, you can't even wear that shirt anymore. He's still like, but I still want it back. And then she's like, fine. And she took out the shirt, and then he like, this shirt is too small. And then he was like, no, it's not. And then he just proceeds to take off his shirt and then put on that small shirt that she gave to Rachel. And that was so funny because he was like, oh, But I think people do learn from it, from that relationship, I guess, that, sometimes people do be like that. We just don't see it. And yet, we're still friends.
It is what it is, right?
It is what it is. So, like a pop-up question, since we're talking about Friends, Rachel and Ross. So, let's just say you're from a toxic relationship and you have broken up. Would it be still toxic to be friends with your toxic ex?
I mean, it all depends on the person. If you ask me, that's a very hard one, to be honest, for me. Because Brick Kun, if you're listening to this, I apologize.
Yeah.
Basically, to me, it all depends. I mean, if you're just staying as friends and just barely talking, I mean, that too can be counted as staying friends. There's a broad definition there. For me, I think if it's just staying friends and barely talking, I think that's okay.
What about Tiffany?
I think I have to agree with Yash. It depends on the situation and how deep you guys have built that chemistry together. Because sometimes you won't see them as toxic compared to your friends see them as toxic because you're so in love and so in love. But if I were to choose, I don't think I would, because I don't want to suffer the way I suffer again. But at the same time, you are so used to that toxic trait of that partner, you tend to think that it's actually a normal behavior when you find a future partner, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you crave for that certain behavior that he did.
Yeah, actually, I also agree with you guys. For me, I do have like a rule for, toxic relationship because as Tiffany know, I've been through a few. I do have like a certain rule to be friends because I'm okay with being friends with my ex, but maybe after a year or two, then I will be okay with being friends. Because I think it's quite important for you to leave the relationship and give yourself space to heal from the toxicity and the trauma. Let's just call it trauma. And only become friends with your ex. Because I do believe that a person in a relationship and as friends is different. I think that's my perspective.
Ah, that's understandable. Like for me, right, to be honest, I have been in a few toxic relationships. Not going to say where
Okay.
or when, but all you could say is that I was crazy naive and I thought that it was normal. And going down the line, I started to realize that, hey, maybe they don't care for my feelings as much.
Mm.
I was sitting down there, and one day I just had a thought to myself over a beer, and I was like, by the way, quick PSA, don't drink if you're below 21. And I realized, right, while sipping on my beer, I was just like, whoa, you know, I never even tell her my problems because if I do, I get a whole lecture about how it's my fault,
Mm.
even if I couldn't stop it. And then when she has a problem, if I do that, guess what? Yeah, I'm not having a good time.
Mm.
So that truly was no freedom in that relationship for me. Bird in a cage.
Bird in the cage.
Damn.
And yeah, it is true. I didn't see the toxicity at the time because all of my friends were just like, oh, she's toxic, she's toxic. But to me, I always viewed it as, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Mm.
And I never saw that toxicity because love is also blind.
Which is true.
Yeah. You know the famous phrase like love is blind? It really blinded a lot of toxic and a lot of trauma in relationship where the person there will be like so blinded and it's not blinded by love, it's like everything's normal to them, normal in this relationship. And once they're out of it, only found out that, oh shoot, it's not normal. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the same because when I got into my relationship with Bert Koon, yes, I managed to find Bert Koon, everybody. Woo!
Yeah.
So basically everything felt different
Mm-hmm.
because suddenly there's someone who's actually listening to my problems. I wasn't used to it at all. And when I cry, Bert Koon is always there.
I mean, hey, good for you, I mean, it's a change.
Yeah, it is a very nice, it is very comfortable change for me.
That is good.
Yes.
Moving on, I think besides movies, there is also songs. One of it, I think you guys know, and because of a TikTok video, I watched a TikTok video, then only noticed about this song that it's actually quite toxic. It's actually Justin Bieber featuring Kid Leroy's "Stay," and in the chorus where Kid Leroy says, so like in the lyrics
Sing,
itself,
sing,
right? He says, I don't want to sing,
Sing,
okay?
sing,
Not
sing.
now.
sing, sing,
So,
sing.
no, no, I'm not gonna sing. I'm not gonna sing. Okay, anyway, it says, I do the same thing. I told you I never would. I told you I'll change even when I knew I never could. Know that I can't find nobody else as good as you. I need you to stay. So, like, to me, that indicates a very, very, very big red flag or a toxic trait someone could have.
Yeah. To me, that's the basic tactic of, you know, you better hold up to your end of the bargain. Like it's the same for like just making promises in general to people. If you're gonna make a promise, make sure you can hold on to it.
I actually, to be honest, I could relate to this song. Not saying that like I'm a toxic person or something. Like let's not put it there, okay? But I do feel like sometimes when we do promises in real relationship, when we cannot reach their expectation, like the song I do the same thing. I told you I'll change even when I knew I never could. I do relate to this kind of lyrics because sometimes in a relationship you want to hold on to this person that you love so much, but even though you're trying to change but you can't change, So it's like a type of relationship where you're hanging by the thread, and is
True.
I gotta say this because I experienced it before. It's like really really bad. It's just really bad for your mental health, and not to say that how to say I lost my words already. Okay, somebody go.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay,
It's
somebody
okay.
take over.
I think we should keep this part.
Oh no, everybody's gonna hear how embarrassed I am. Oh god. Okay, moving on.
All right, all right. To be
Okay.
fair, right? To be
Mm.
fair, it's all just, to me, I view this all as like, yeah, it's true. Some relationships you go into it and you don't know if you can deliver what you promise. I mean, as long as it's extremely close, as long as you tried, you tried to change, as long as you did, then that wouldn't really be a problem. As long as you did put in your effort.
Yeah, I agree.
Because at the end of the day, to me, I feel like if you put in the effort, it just means that you tried your best and you did the best you could for that person, for yourself and that person.
Mm.
Oh yeah, another song that I feel like can relate to this: Katy Perry, "You're Hot and You're Cold."
That I'm gonna say this, hot and cold doesn't occur to me as a toxic song. Because we were young and then you hear this Katy Perry song like because you're hot and you're cold and then you're like banging to it without realizing that this is actually a really toxic song.
The song was just informing us for the future.
Yeah, and it's like, hello, the whole entire music video was her running away from this wedding. Everyone thought it was like, oh my god, this Katy Perry is doing such a great job running away from the guy she didn't, deserve. But we don't really
No,
understand what like is going on.
I have to tell you that actually it's not her running away from the guy. It's the guy running away from her
Oh really? Oh shit!
because they're at the altar and he just changed his mind. He just changed his
Ah.
mind and he ran away from the altar.
Oh my god. Okay, I got it all wrong. I only remember she wearing like a wedding dress and running. So that's literally what I remember.
I mean, that's true, but she's actually chasing him because she doesn't want him to run away because, like, he probably changed his mind last minute and he doesn't want to get married, so he's running away from her. So she is chasing him, not the other way around.
First off, there had to be some quality fabric that she was running with, because that didn't tear one bit.
Yeah. It was like beautiful. The dress was great.
She even rode a bicycle, guys.
Yeah, that dress was probably made by Nike.
Nike. But actually, talking about hot and cold, right, I remember the ending of the music video was the guy staying there and promised to be married, right? But would that be wrong in a sense? Because since he's having the second thoughts of this relationship.
No, but in the end, the music video it's actually all in his mind. Actually, if you see properly, like him running, and then by the end of the song, it just goes back to the first scene. So it shows that he's actually having second thoughts. So he's thinking like, oh, if I run away, this will happen.
Yeah. But that's the problem. He thought to himself about running away, and he is scared that the bride is gonna hunt him down.
Now that I think about it, maybe she was toxic.
Yeah, that's why. Isn't it?
Oh no. There are two different views to this. I can't even fight back.
Well, this is hot and cold, man. There should be a duality.
Basically, to me, what I view that is, if you're gonna have long-term commitment issues, yeah, don't, because you never know how long a relationship is gonna go for.
Yeah.
It's better if you don't, have commitment issues later on. Just be like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Talk, sit down, talk. Don't keep it to yourself.
I mean, like, thinking about it, like, having second thoughts in weddings, and that's not toxic at all. It's just the toxic part is that this guy is scared to run away from this marriage because the girl is going to hunt him down.
Loki, Loki, not gonna lie. A girl loves you or really needs to use you for business when she hunts you down.
Moral of the story: don't marry a crazy lady.
Man, but let's see. What else was there? I know there was another song. Um,
Oh yeah, it's another song by Ganesh. Nash? I don't know how to pronounce his name. I hate you, I love you.
Who's Ganesh?
oh, Ganesh, my favorite kind of food, my favorite kind of pastry. Thank you.
Ganesh.
Ganache. Yes.
Wait, I hate you, I love you. What was that song again?
It's the I hate you, I love you. That one.
You see, she
Ah,
fall for my trick. She sing already.
she
Yeah.
finally sang. We win. We
Audience should
win.
clap. Hello, people, clap now. Thank you.
Woo!
Editor, please put in the clap. Yeah.
Give everyone a round of applause, everybody, for Tiffany. Woo!
Damn it! Damn it!
All right. That is actually the same as having like second thoughts or a duality, I feel. Like, really.
Mm.
Because, like, the entire time, it's a song about a breakup, but it's also a song about how they regret the decision.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure we've all been there at some point where we've regretted a breakup.
Yeah.
Even though we know that it was, we should have broken up, it was the right thing to do, we still regretted it.
Okay, so since we were talking about like a lot of movies and songs, let's talk about like real life, right? So like, what do you guys consider as a red flag? Because this what we all talk about when we talk about toxic and how we're going to spot this kind of toxicity in people. So how do you guys spot? What are your red flags?
For me, I'll be honest, yeah, no boundaries. That definitely is a massive toxic sign. I mean, it is different. This is not the, love knows no boundaries kind of no boundaries. This is more of, yeah, how much he can hurt you knows no boundaries.
So like when you're talking about like no boundaries, what kind of like action would she do that you immediately know that she has no boundaries?
Um, there's not one specific action, but it's more of the how many instances go down. Like, for instance, first would be that generally when I have my own problem and I try to talk about it, I get laughed at, and that shuts me down. And then when I just feel a little bit lonely, or I feel a little bit manja, I want to try to talk to her. Yeah, I get shut down, and then I get told how I'm not supposed to act like that. That combined with the fact that when she's upset back then, I wasn't allowed to really, how do you say, make any jokes or do anything. I just had to comfort her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be used as a punching bag. Despite the fact that whatever happened wasn't me, I was treated as such a punching bag back then, to the point that sometimes I just felt like, I was the issue. Despite the fact that I'm being there to listen to her and to support her, I felt like I was the issue. And it wasn't even my fault. It could just be a simple thing as her parents arguing with her, and then she take it out on me somehow. But like, yeah, I mean, just in general, being extremely like, not really too focused on yourself, but when it comes to a person listening to you and being there for you, just because they're there for you doesn't mean that they're a punching bag. Like, yes, some instances of you letting yourself out, letting out your feelings, letting out your emotions, yes, understandable. But using them as a punching bag, I feel like, yeah, no, that wouldn't fly.
What about Tiff? Well, what kind of red flags do you have?
I guess it would be lack of trust and communication.
Oh yeah, definitely. Those are two big ones that I didn't mention.
Yeah, I mean, like those two are the causes of why people break up, because they don't communicate and they keep everything to themselves, or either that they overthink and think that whenever a guy doesn't text them back, he's with a girl. So
Doesn't reply to my text in 10 seconds, he's cheating on me. Even he goes to the next room, oh, he's cheating on me. Relax. I'm talking to another woman. Who is it? You're cheating on me. It's my mother.
what about you, Sama? Like, what about you? What do you think is toxic or a red flag?
Like, let me just like continue on with Tiffany, right? Because you said lack of trust and what
Communication.
and communication and lack of trust and communication. So to be honest, I do think a major red flag would be a lack of respect. Let's not talk about relationship like jumping into a relationship. Let's just say that you're not even in the relationship yet. He's a prospect, a prospect potential boyfriend. If he doesn't have respect for you or even like customer workers, it's actually to me is a major red flag because I did experience that with one of my how say short term because this okay let me just clarify. You know how we always say like 3 months into dating that is probation, right?
Honeymoon phase. Yeah.
All right,
So
yeah.
this ex of mine was only 2 weeks, so I call him like a trial and error boyfriend lah.
Oh,
But to be honest, he was a major red flag because he has no respect. Because he cannot tahan all fat girls, like oversized girls, and he would even make fun of them. So for example, like for instances, right, one time I was having a date with him in Pasar Malam, and then we walked by like a oversized girl and her father. Then we walked past already, kan. Then he turned to me and he told me, "How does the father even hug his daughter? I'm quite sure he will suffocate right after we walk past him." So that's why I thought to me it was a major red flag. Like you have no blatant respect for even passerbys. So why would you have the respect to me as a woman? So would be a major red flag for me.
hold on. I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming. I feel disrespectful for laughing. I didn't see that coming at all.
Right? I have more red flags with this guy, man. Like for example, right, one time we were at an A&W. He asked me, "What if when you get pregnant, right? When you're pregnant, right? Can I go out and cheat because I cannot have sex with you? Can I go out and cheat?" He asked me that question, as his girlfriend. So I was like, oh my god. Luckily, I did literally mara him in front of the whole entire A&W. Cause like the hell, what kind of question is that? There's no any respect. So goodbye, trial and error.
He is like basically digging up his own grave by this point in time.
If anything, there is something I'll give him props for, which is the guts to even ask that question.
I know. Oh my god. To be honest, like if he is listening to this podcast right now, I'm like, hello and goodbye.
Wow. I'm still mind blown. Wow. He may be a red flag, but he knows how to blow people's minds.
I know, right? He seems like a really nice guy, playful, but like it's bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. You'd be like, what the hell is this guy even doing?
Okay, I have a question. I have a very good question for you guys. Do you guys consider pick me's boy or girl to be a red flag or a toxic trait to have?
What is a pick me?
What's your definition of a pick me? Yeah. Let's establish that first.
Okay, so like to me, the definition of a pick me girl is like she thinks she's like superior than other girls. So she'll always use the for example, like a guy just says, "Oh, I game. I like to play Valorant," for example, and then another girl will be like, "Oh my god, I don't play Valorant." So a pick me girl will just go, "Oh my god, you don't play Valorant? Valorant is so good. I play Valorant. I level I don't know. I don't really know Valorant, so I'm just gonna assume. I'm like, I have this gun and that machine gun. I unlock this skin and that skin and that skin. Hi, I don't have. I leveled 100 already. Valorant is like the best. Oh my god. I'm not like other girls. Yada yada yada.
Okay, what about boy?
Pygmy boys, on the other hand, however, pygmy boys are those who put themselves down. I guess an example would be like a pygmy guy will just go, "Oh my gosh, you're so pretty. You won't date me because I'm very ugly." And then the girl will just go, "No lah, you're average looking. You're quite okay for your age and stuff." It's like, "I knew it. I'm very ugly. You won't date me." And then she's like, "No, I didn't say that. You're good look. You're average looking. You're quite good." And it's like, "No, I know you're just saying that so you won't hurt my feelings."
You're basically faking low self-esteem.
You don't say it out when you have low self-esteem, right?
Yeah. You're just like, it's like you think it in your head, it wouldn't come out on the message. It's just like the best you'd ever do is a hi. And if she responds, that's already a win.
But to be honest, for me, since like pick me girls and pick me guys has differences, but I do think that both of the genders is how to say they're using manipulation and a kind of gaslighting. I'm not sure whether that's gaslighting, but for sure manipulation, where they manipulate where oh because I have I have low self esteem, so you have to pity me and then you have to get into a relationship with me. So I do think it is toxic if they are trying to do that to get into a relationship.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. And like one thing which I do feel, right, the pygmy sort of tried to harbor on what is hard to find. Like for instance, they harbor on like for a guy, it's like sort of being like a soft boy because you have low self esteem, you don't really care. And like for girls, it's like the tomboys. I feel you're just trying to be able to fit in with the other gender or try to be something that they find cute or somewhat interesting or cool just to impress them or catch their sympathy and try to roll with that. That's what I feel is like this pick me thing is. And to be honest, right, today it's slowly becoming harder and harder to find the actual gamer girls and the actual soft boys out of the pygmies. If you know what to look for, it's easy to find. But other than that, it's kind of hard.
What about Tiffany?
Honestly, no offense to anybody who you know is a pygmy boy or pygmy girl. I find them annoying. You already have that toxic trait that you don't know, and now you're actually using that trait to get what you want. So isn't that manipulation? Isn't that gaslighting already?
Okay, let's go to Yash. Do you have any
Oh
toxic trait
no,
or are you perfect? Are you a perfect human being?
there's no such thing as perfect. Everyone's got a different view of what perfect is, anyways. So for me, honestly, if you ask me, back in high school, I used to hang out with this particular set of friends. And basically, they were all like the typical, oh, I want to be macho, I want to do this, I want to do that. Or I go to the gym every day, lift weights, do this, do that. So there was a point of me which was not so sure if I consider it toxic, but I was trying to, stick with my clique, that group, because that was all I knew back then. And my ex, bless her, she stuck with me throughout that entire phase. And the entire time, like, I think there was a one point towards the end of our relationship where she called me out for it. And I got to thank her for that because after that moment, when our relationship ended, I realized that I needed to fix myself before I could even, continue on because the entire time I wasn't being myself. I was being a few different people. I was being one person to her. I was being a separate person with them. I was being another person at home. And I was another person with another group of friends. So it sort of taught me after that. And those who knew me from high school, yeah, I prefer not to be seen now compared to back then where I wanted everyone to know who I was. I wanted to be the popular kid. Yes, because I didn't have many friends growing up. And like now versus now, I prefer not to really be seen in public much because yeah, it's just like, I'm already comfortable. I don't need to push myself any further to be, to be out there like, oh, I want to appeal to this set of people or that set of people. I'd just be lying to myself. I rather mix with my own crowd or people that I can relate to.
Hmm.
Like that's what I've learned over time. Unfortunately, I don't have my walking proof here with me. So
It's okay.
Lama, it's okay. We trust you.
yes, that is a huge word. And like, yeah. So earlier I mentioned something and I just wanted to go back on it. Gaslighting.
What about it?
Yes, word of the day, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, for me, I feel like, one thing which really I see as a massive red flag is gaslighting a person to do something. You're basically not asking them nicely or convincing them. You're in a way forcing them to do it using reverse psychology. So like, I feel like that's not a very healthy thing. I mean, if you gaslight them to get out of like things like, let's say, an addiction, or to get them to stop wasting time on something or lazing around, then maybe there may be exceptions to it. Like that's a huge gray area for me. And gaslighting, to be honest, is very, to me, I view that as very heavy because it's not giving you a choice. You're reacting like as if you have a choice, but actual fact you don't. You're just doing it because you were manipulated to.
Yeah, as I was saying, gaslighting also like a scenario when the gaslighters, I will call them, they would fight when there's a crowd of people, or there's like the gaslighters friends around, if that makes sense. So like to make to make the victim that is being gaslighted very small and vulnerable and has no space and has to agree with the gaslighter.
Yeah, basically peer pressure. Is that it?
It could be peer pressure, but I feel that the gaslighter feels more superior in a way where, oh yeah, I have my friends to support me in what I say. I have to be right even though I'm not right.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a thing where you gang up with people on your other half. That definitely should be added to a list of red flags. If it's in your own relationship, keep it to yourself. Don't bring outside influence.
A lot of people, especially in this digital era where social media is everywhere, we will be like, oh no, I want to share my relationship out. I want to show people my relationship, but sometimes that would backfire the whole entire relationship, and it would just crumble because there will be a lot of inputs from outside about your relationship, and that would literally be the fallout of your whole entire relationship.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, sometimes it depends how y'all can take criticism too, if any. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah, y'all shouldn't take things people say outside your relationship too seriously. I mean, unless it's calling out a red flag, then you should take it seriously. Reassess, look at your situation. We've got a lot of red flags, not gonna lie.
Yeah, we do. I think we've also said a lot from our right from the girls' point of view because society always portrays the toxic one to be guys, but hardly the toxic one on girls. So I want to ask you, like, yes, like in your opinion, do you have any red flags of girls, like specifically that we girls don't see in men, if that makes sense?
Mm, I think, to be honest, the few that really worry a lot of guys. I mean, again, it depends on the person also, because not everyone's the same. But the few that worry guys is like, for instance, that guy she tells you not to worry about. You can clearly tell that they're close. He came out of nowhere. He just appeared there, and like, it really depends on situation. But there's that. And then there's like goal digging. I feel like in general is just something big that a lot of people like. At first, it's all the little things, and then next thing you know, it gets just more and more. And being secretive is normal. I mean, there's some things which you have to keep to yourself, but starting to hide stuff from your other half in general just becomes very like, it does end up becoming a red flag that maybe something is wrong, because it just goes back to she not being able to trust us enough. And I'm sure there are some toxic things we go through that are almost exactly, if not completely similar, that I can't name, because like for us, like, it's just seen as normal. At the same time, like, for us, there are many green flags that can actually be red flags too.
So you're saying like the kind of things that we thought it is good in a relationship, but it's actually bad.
Yeah, like for instance, I feel like one thing is texting 24/7. I mean, if you're long distance, it's kind of understandable. In the beginnings, all relationships will always be like that. In the beginning,
Yeah.
all relationship will be like, okay, we're gonna text all the time, especially if you're long distance, because as Tiffany once told me, distance makes the heart
The heart go for what?
grow fonder. I quote.
It means that the distance makes the heart grow stronger.
Yeah,
Oh, the heart. I thought it was heart, like ink, like heart, and then girl, heart, girl.
The
Oh wow.
But actually, I do agree with you because to be honest, I did struggle with this on first hand. My first experience with love, my first relationship was a toxic one, and I required the guy to text me 24/7. I'm the kind of person that overthinks a lot, so when he does not text me in like maybe 30 minutes, I will go really freak out. So that was a thing that I actually had to. I would consider myself as a toxic person before, especially in my first relationship, because I overthink a lot and I needed this constant attention. Even I was in this 4 year relationship and I still needed that for 4 years straight. So that was literally so bad.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time. And I knew that I was being really toxic. But because I was fresh out of this first relationship, everybody always say first love is always really hard. It's really hard for me to understand what to do and how to handle this situation properly and not be toxic. So to be honest, I
Yeah.
really just want to throw it out there like 24/7 texting in the beginning of the relationship, totally normal because honeymoon period. But after that, if he's texting you for 24/7 or you require him to be, texting you 24/7, it's a major red flag because you're as if dependent to this person for your own needs and your own personal gain.
Yeah.
So you have to leave some room for yourself to grow how to say individually in a relationship as
Yeah.
well.
Like that's what I was gonna say, right? Because people do need their own space and time to do their own things and grow themselves too. Because otherwise, you're going to become so attached to the point that, let's say, like touch wood, if anything were to happen to that relationship, you wouldn't know what to do because they were such a big part. They were such a big part in your life. Like every decision you made was based on not yourself, but with them in mind too.
true.
And don't really get into a relationship if it's through online. You never know what could happen. There are exceptions. There are exceptions.
My 3 year boyfriend, like currently, is from Tinder. So yeah.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Tinder worked out for you, huh? Oh wow. 6 months on Tinder, zero hits. So yes. But like that, to be honest, like if you first meet them and you feel really uncomfortable, and like not really uncomfortable, but to say nervous, it's understandable. But if you keep meeting them and you keep feeling nervous, like uneasy, then I, I feel like that's a really bad sign.
Yeah, I've got the ad in shows and TV shows. You usually see like, oh my god, or in books especially if you read romance books, they will say like, oh my god, I have this like I feel like I'm so excited, I'm so nervous until I have butterflies in my stomach. I mean, yeah, true. For the first time, like what Yash said, it's a good thing. Maybe because you're excited or you can't wait to see that person. But if each time you feel that, isn't that your body trying to tell you that that's not the one and you should run away from that person? Rather than just like, oh my god, yeah, I'm so excited, I got butterflies, I got like chills and stuff. Because I've read somewhere, I think it was a video on TikTok or on YouTube by a psychologist who studies relationship habits and thinking from years back. They say that actually the person that you meet every time should make you feel safe and not have those nervous feelings that you have. Because if you do find that person who gives you such feelings, probably that guy is dangerous. He could be a psychopath for all I know. A person, your other half should make you feel safe at home. He is your
That
home.
went 0 to 1,000 very fast.
Ted Bundy, Ted Bundy. Suddenly you feel
It's not he doesn't make you feel safe because you see the way he's treating people. It's just more of, no, he's Ted Bundy.
to be honest, when you're finding for a partner in relationship, the main goal of it is literally to be with them forever, until old. to stick and I don't know the vows, man. Oh my god. But yeah, literally, you are finding somebody to be your family. So getting butterflies every time you meet them, that is not good for your health, even.
Yeah, that's very true. Because it can also cause indigestion.
Yep, and constipation.
It's not only mentally, it's physically too.
Yeah.
Go see a doctor because of your relationship today. Get properly prescribed medication.
Yes.
And also like being overly intimate at the beginning of relationships, right? I mean, yeah, some people this I think this go a little bit back to boundaries where like when you first meet, right? Y'all are just getting used to meeting each other in person and learning about each other in person because what you see online may be completely different from what is in person. So being like overly intimate on in the very early stages of relationships is dangerous because at times people need to slow down, like actually, and not move way too fast. Otherwise you're slowly gonna lose the feeling of everything.
There's always a saying whereby if your relationship goes too fast, it also ends very fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Being overly intimate, I know lah, in Malaysian culture, even in Malaysia, though we still have, this traditional, more conservative culture in our country.
Yes, hand holding needs to be consented in public.
Yes, haram, haram. But to be honest, I do know some people who move really fast. Like they make out on the first hour of the date, or the first date, and even go beyond that. I will cut it off here. No,
Are you
no more
sure?
details.
Are you sure it's dating or is it friends with benefit?
Yeah, that's a problem. In the name itself, like my friend that I'm referring to, in the name itself is finding a partner. But to be honest, the things that you're doing, it will, I would say, it's more towards finding thrills and satisfying your sexual desire more than a relationship. So to be honest, just take it slow, man. Because like even though you know the body of your partner, you need to know their, how to say, their
Character.
person, their character, their personality only can be your long-term partner and even your lifelong partner.
I prefer to know what's on the inside before I know what's on the out.
Yes.
Because I mean, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. You can sell me with the features. You can sell me with everything. If it's gonna break down easily, if it's gonna break, if it's gonna hurt me, and if I'm gonna end up in the hospital like once a week, no thanks.
You will never eat a rotten apple kan, right? Right? You need to see a doctor. You eat an apple a day to keep the doctor away, but if the apple is rotten, you know.
I like that analogy. I like that. I like that thinking.
Yeah, talking about overly intimate at the beginning of the relationship. There's actually a term where we call it love bombing. Bombing, bombing, love bombing. Do you guys know what love bombing is?
Love bombing, guys, not love bombing.
You a love terrorist or something? I've never heard of that term.
No, no, no. Not terrorist.
From my understanding of love bomb or L bomb is basically early on in the relationship, you already said the L word, I love you. When you just met on the first date and you just say, I love you. I think it's more towards like saying I love you, and on the first, second, third date already, you guys just know each other and you just say, oh, I want a family with 2 kids, I want a house.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. That's way too fast. Okay.
Yeah, that is way too fast. It's not how to say physically intimate. Intimate fast, but it's emotionally fast, which is also it also backfires because after the love bombing phase, you literally will go to the complete opposite phase where he doesn't care about you. He doesn't call you, he doesn't text you. And
He or she.
he or she, sorry. He or she.
We gotta be equal.
We love bombing, right? You set the expectation that high at the beginning of the relationship, And then after 3 months, your expectation was that high, and then you're just like, boom, nothing.
I think overall, right, we can, I don't know, we are like that high level of like doctors and stuff to give you advice or tips. But I think from what we explained and what we discussed today, you probably get a gist of like any tips, you should avoid or
To be fair, I think we're not giving advice we don't know. We're giving things that we've experienced or seen.
Yep.
So
Yep.
take it with a grain of salt. When you see what we see, if you're probably walking in our shoes for a moment.
We are, all three of us are still learning to be better person in relationship as well as individually. So, yeah.
With that being said, I think we're pretty much out of time for this month. It's not cheap renting mics. With that, thank you very much to everyone who tuned in this month. And be sure to give a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode and share it everywhere. Literally everywhere. Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. Share it to other people on Nico Nico, And don't forget to follow us on our Instagram page at IACT Parts _official. That's at IACT Parts _official. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Spotify. Yes, because that is a thing now. And also, make sure to tune in for next time's episode. And I think y'all might actually enjoy this one because it is slow. It is actually kind of connected to this episode. So stay tuned for that. All right.
And
Thank you,
bye.
everyone. Have a good week.